It's been almost a month that I've had my rebounder and I am hooked. It's definitely become my favorite way to move. There's nothing like it. I still appreciate strength training and running, but this is so much fun. And today I want to share with you my journey with rebounding, the changes I have experienced. But first of all, I want to get into some of the pros and cons of rebounding. Let's start with the cons because there are some that I've found. Very few. One of them being that it takes up quite a bit of space. I personally live in a one-room apartment, so now a lot of that room is taken up by the rebounder. And it is also quite pricey to get a rebounder. You don't just want to get like a cheap one off Amazon, but you want to get something proper, something legit, because otherwise you're not really going to be using it. It's not going to be fun. I've had a cheaper rebounder before and I didn't really like it, so now I got this really good one because that way it's actually fun. And then the third disadvantage that I have found is that you are not really getting outside and getting fresh air compared to the way you do when you go cycling or when you go running or when you go for a walk. You get that daylight from, even when there's clouds, you get sunlight that helps with, serotonin and melatonin production and all those hormone regulations. You don't really get that with rebounding because you're indoors, you're inhaling the air from your room. But those are just some minor disadvantages I found. Now the advantages are definitely far greater. That's also why I love it so much and why I have decided to get one. And for me personally, the biggest benefit of rebounding is that it is the most effortless way to move. I personally don't even feel or look at it like exercise because, again, it's so much fun. For me, it's more like going to the playground as a kid. You don't go to the playground as a kid because you think I need to have some fun now, but you go there because you want to play. And that's the same way I look at the rebounder. Like, I'm not going to be like, I should move now to get that lymphatic system pumping or to burn those calories. No, it's more like, I want to have some fun. I'm going to go on the rebounder just like you would play a game on your phone. And that kind of attitude, that kind of mentality around exercise has just been something that I have been incorporating more and more recently into my life, and not really looking at it as this strict health regimen that I need to follow, but more as something that just cleans my system. Just like I clean my apartment, I clean out my body in a way, energetically and also physically, because that's another benefit of rebounding. It helps flush out toxins, it helps activate the lymphatic system, and that is definitely something I can approve of because I just feel like my skin is more clear, my hair is just nice, and I just feel like all the bodily functions. Of course, I've only been doing it for 30 days, so I can't really say that much, even though I have been into rebounding before that, but like doing it vigorously, it's been about a month now. And then also studies have shown that 10 minutes rebounding is as effective as 30 minutes running. Again, personally, I wouldn't say you can compare it in that way because when you go running outside, you also get in fresh air and daylight, which you don't get with the rebounder. But then when it comes to the serotonin release, like just the good mood you get from it, and also just how you feel afterwards in your body, I can definitely say that it is very, very similar to running, even if I just go on there for a couple of minutes. So to sum it up, like, it is definitely a very time efficient way to exercise. So when you don't have a lot of time on your hands, which for me, I don't have a lack of time, so that's why I still enjoy and appreciate things like running and cycling and all that kind of stuff. But when you don't have a lot of time, I think this is definitely a really, really great investment and way to spend that time moving. And then it's also supposed to help you with flat belly. And I can definitely, even though again, it has only been a month, but I can definitely approve of that. My belly has gotten flatter. And most importantly, I just feel like my digestion has improved and my elimination has improved. So I have about 3 to 4 bowel movements consistently now, which before that, I would still say I had pretty good digestion, but Again, it isn't like a super big noticeable difference, but I can imagine that if I continue doing it, it's just going to, you know, compound, and I definitely feel that elimination has gotten better from it. Sorry if this is too much information. And as I started rebounding regularly, I could also just feel my inner belly awareness in a way. So I just feel more, have more feeling in my belly because it strengthens your core. And I think because of that, I'm also way more able to sense when I'm satiated and when I've had enough. And then also being able to just stop when that happens. I think that is something that I have developed over time, but especially now with rebounding, being more aware of your belly area and having more focus in there. And then also because of the digestion improving and the elimination improving, you're able to absorb the calories from the food you eat way better, and then you feel more satiated because you're actually absorbing the fuel that you're putting into your tank. So yeah, definitely another amazing benefit. And then 2 more physical benefits I can think of on the top of my head is just I can just feel happy hormones being released when I'm on my trampoline, because you feel like a kid again and you feel like playing and having fun. And even after I get off the rebounder, I can still feel those happy hormones being in my system. And also I feel like my sleep is pretty good this winter. This is actually the first winter where I'm not struggling with seasonal depression, or like, I wouldn't say I've had like a real depression or anything, but you know, that kind of bumpy feeling you get around December, November, where you just feel like sluggish and tired. And I haven't had that this year. And I definitely think it has a lot to do with me going on the rebounder pretty much every day, because it's just in your room, you walk by anyway. And I also want to give some tips for all of those out there who already have a rebounder that have really helped me to also actually use it. But last of all, I want to share one last benefit, and that is that for me, I can also feel how it really strengthened my core and my back, and how my posture has improved a little bit from rebounding. Again, I've only done it for 30 days, so I will do another update in a year or so probably, but I can definitely feel how that has also improved. And I can see how if you actually do it long-term consistently, all of these benefits will compound and become even nicer. But I think the biggest one is definitely that you just feel like a kid again. It's so much fun, and it has really reframed my way of looking at exercise and movement as something that is play. Like, as a kid, you don't think about, oh my god, I need to like eat healthy now or exercise. You just do these things because you want to and because they feel good. All right, so now let's get into some tips that really help me to be consistent. The first one is to have a playlist that really feels really nice to listen to while I'm on a trampoline. So I have a couple of songs on there that I really like, and that are also kind of a little bit upbeat, and yeah, that I just love listening to. And then while I listen to these songs, usually with my Bluetooth headphones to not disturb any neighbors, I jump on the trampoline, and often I tell myself, okay, I'm just gonna jump to this one song that I want to listen to anyway right now. And then I also make it into kind of a dance. Like sometimes I dance a little bit on a trampoline, or I sing along, and to really make it into kind of a party. And then usually what ends up happening is that after that one song, I want to keep going and do more songs. So yeah, that is something one can do for sure. Then also to do it in the evening has been a really nice time for me. So to kind of find a time that feels good to do it. So around like 1 hour after dinner, I like to go on the rebounder for a little bit, because then I have digested my food, and then that way I'm still getting in a little bit of movement without having to go outside. after my last meal, just so that I feel like it's fully digested when I'm going to bed. Not feeling hungry because I've had enough calories throughout the day, but just that edge feeling of, you just feel like your belly isn't processing any of the food anymore that you've put in. And the sleep you get when you do that on a consistent basis, it's just so good. And the feeling I get, especially the morning afterwards when I wake up, feeling really refreshed and energized. Because again, the body isn't digesting food while it's sleeping, but it can actually fulfill all those other bodily functions that it needs to do. And rebounding after dinner has really, really helped me to hit that edge of just feeling so, so good in my stomach when I go to bed. So those are some times I enjoy, but I also like it in the morning. So what I typically do right now, I have my resistance bands where I do the strength training, and then in between the sets, I usually just go on the rebounder for 1 minute, because you're supposed to have 45 seconds to a minute in between sets to recover your muscles until you do the next one. So in that time, I usually go on the rebounder and also for warm up and cool down. And yeah, those are kind of the times that I practice it. So having kind of like a consistent routine where we potentially also link it to someone else, something else we're already doing anyway. So for me, for example, the strength training, I already do anyway, about once or twice a week right now. And then also another really, really beneficial thing for me was to just really get a good rebounder. Because I just feel like when you have one that isn't really that high quality, where it's not that much fun to jump on, you're not really using it. It doesn't really bring you that much joy. But when you step on it and it's just so much fun, because it's a high quality one, then it's just so nice. And that also reminds me actually of one more benefit of rebounding compared to things like running and cycling and all that kind of stuff. You only need to buy a rebounder once, really. Yes, if you get the brand Bellicon that I have, you might have to, pretty much probably with every brand, you might have to change those bungees at some point, like maybe once or twice every 10 years, you might have to replace the bungees. But really, like, you don't have to get a new rebounder or anything, versus with running shoes, you need to replace them every 1 or 2 years, depending on how much you run. And then with cycling, you need a lot of equipment, and you need to maintain the bike a lot. Like, I spend quite a bit of time maintaining my bicycle, oiling the chain and cleaning the chain and pumping up the tires. And, if something breaks down, you need to go to the mechanic. All that kind of stuff. You do not have to do any of that with a rebounder, which personally, I would say if you're someone who's really busy, is a big advantage. And then when it comes to choosing a rebounder, I have chosen Bellicon because it's something that I've been recommended to by people in my close environment, working colleagues even, and then also Chris Kendall from the Raw Advantage, who you maybe know. He has had it. So now that I know people who have it, who are happy with it, I'm like, I don't mind spending more money on it now that I have the money and I want that experience of having a really good rebounder. So that has been something I have been doing. But there are also other cheaper models that you can look into for sure. But just for the sake of not having any headache with it, of like, I don't know, because of poor quality, something happening to the rebounder or something, or just not having a good experience, I would definitely highly recommend to invest in it if you have the money, of course.